Welcome to Diet.com video. I'm Sarah Dussault, and today I'm with Stephen Cabral, body transformation expert. But today we're not showing you body transformation exercises, are we? We're going to show you guys how to use a foam roller. Now, people see these. Why do we need them, and what's the benefit of the exercises you're going to show me today?
Yeah, so a lot of people don't like to take the time to roll or to stretch after their workout. So a foam roller is actually great before the workout because you start to open up your muscles and you can do that safely without having to stretch necessarily. So the reason why we do this is so that we continue to exercise with good form and not get injuries in the first place. That's one of the biggest things at our studio is we want people to stay on target. And that means, you have to stay on target with your nutrition, with your exercise, with the whole lifestyle part of it. And if you get injured, well, then you lose the exercise component of it, which is so huge when you're trying to boost your metabolism. Now, a foam roller is like somewhere between like $20 and $30 maximum. It will last you years. So you want to get, this is called a high density foam roller. We just have a blue one at the studio because this is like antimicrobial, but you can get a black one, you can get any of the ones you want at home because it's just you using it. So what I'm going to have Sarah do is have a seat on this facing towards you. So we're just going to demonstrate one side today, and I'm going to take you through just your typical foam rolling exercises to help loosen up your hips. You'd be amazed. Sometimes you have lower back stiffness or you have knee pain, and everybody thinks they should be rolling their lower back or rolling their knees. That isn't the case. You want to stretch all the muscles above and below those joints. So Sarah's going to put her left elbow on this pad right here. That's how you start things out. You want to just kind of stay on your left hip, put your elbow down, and now you want to go more towards your lower back, so the top of your glute. So more where like the glute medius is, up nice and high. And what I want Sarah to do is keep her right leg right here. I want her to put her left ankle right here. Okay, so now in this position, she's stretching the hip, and she's also rolling the top of the glute and right to where the top of the hip bone is, okay? So what she's gonna do is just do small rolls. Sometimes people do these enormous rolls. You wanna roll maybe 3 inches or so just on the tight parts. And you also wanna breathe. A lot of people forget to breathe while they're foam rolling. What can happen is that can tense up the muscles even more. So what I suggest, if you're on a really tight spot and it's making you kind of lose your breath, roll above it or below it and then move back into that area. So what we're doing right here is we're gonna get deep into those hip muscles and kind of iron out the knots. So when people talk about knots in their muscles, well, this is the thing. You can't stretch through a knot, but you can foam roll it out. It's like a massage. This is actually called self-myofascial release, and it's just like a massage for the fascia that surrounds the muscle. So now prop yourself up on that hand. So what we do is we do 2 different parts. The first part, Sarah's rolling the top of her hip. Now she's right where the femur connects into that socket with the hip. So this is the hip rotators, like the piriformis. That's one that we've heard before, kind of piriformis syndrome or some inflammation causes sciatic type pain. So what Sarah's gonna do is just kind of lean into that hip, rolling back and forth, small rolls, and kind of rolling in and out, seeing where those tight spots are. If you find a tight spot, I highly recommend just breathing in and out and staying right on that spot for 30 seconds. And that will help release the tightness there and any knots that are in that area as well. Okay, so we just did the top of the hip, and then we did the hip itself right on the joint. Now, usually you would switch sides because you want to give this arm a rest, but not for Sarah. So what we're going to have you do is get back down on your forearm. Let's actually have you swivel a little bit. Perfect. Move this right up here. Okay, so now this part of Sarah's leg right here is called the IT band, the iliotibial bands. All right, so what we want to do is make sure that we roll out that band and iron it out. The reason is it can cause knee pain if it's tight because it creates this twisting of the femur anterior, so into the leg, and we want to make sure that's ironed out. So if this isn't too painful, you can do what Sarah's doing. You can put one leg on top of the other. Now, if it is painful, exactly, you keep this foot here and you keep that bottom foot off the ground and you allow yourself to actually roll. Now, I break the IT band up into 3 phases, 3 parts. Rolling the top part, the middle part, and then the bottom part. So first Sarah's gonna do the top. She'll do that for about a minute or so. Then she'll roll the middle where she's rolling now. And then what I want Sarah to do, we'll pretend that a minute's gone by, is to roll that part right where the kneecap touches it. Now the reason you wanna do that is because the IT band comes all the way down towards the knee. And again, we want to loosen up all of that muscle that connects down to the knee.
And for those of you at home who have never done this before, it's going to hurt the first time. So this is highly recommended. First time I ever did it, probably wanted to cry.
And it's fantastic for people who do have that type of knee pain or hip pain or lower back pain, but also great as maintenance work. And for runners, this is extremely essential because you're doing so many strikes on the ground. Now, right from this position, you're gonna roll a little bit towards your quads, just a little bit right there. Good. Not all the way onto the front. And what this does is it works the vastus lateralis muscle of the quadricep, or the lateralis. And what that does is it works more moving towards the quadriceps, so you get even more benefit, not just the IT band. Now, everybody wants to roll towards the hamstrings. You're not going to get as much benefit there because it doesn't dig in as deep to the hamstrings. I like to lengthen the hamstrings through stretching, but of course you can foam roll them. So we only have one more to go. So we did the top of the hip, we did the connection in the hip, we did the IT band, now we're doing the quad. And for the quad, you go the 3 phases again. And now the last part we want to do is the inside of the leg, the adductor. So that's our 5th one. So what I want Sarah to do is position this like an X across her leg. So she's going to lie face down like a plank position here, and this goes to the inside. It's going to go all the way up to the inner adductor, all the way up to the groin. And so what she wants to do is form a cross with this. Pull your leg all the way over to me, and then straighten the leg out. Perfect. And what we can do is, again, 3 phases always, up high, in the middle, and then down low. And now this, for people who cycle, do any sort of biking or running, this vastus medialis right here, that's why you have to get all the way to the kneecap, because that's a separate muscle right here that connects, looks like a teardrop. And sometimes, again, that can be pretty painful as well. Now, one thing to keep in mind as we're finishing this up is that some parts are going to be excruciatingly painful, and some parts are going to be less. So what you want to do is spend more time on the places that are more painful, even though that sounds kind of sadistic. And the reason is those parts need to be ironed out and get rid of those knots and the tightness in those muscles to a much greater degree. And the nice thing is with this, it brings blood flow to those muscles, so it helps with recovery. Great to do on your off days or after your workouts. Or again, if you go into a workout and you're feeling stiff, like you have back pain or knee pain, do this before your workout. It's tremendous. It helps out our clients so much by doing this type of work.
And I am a huge fan of foam rolling. I love it. And I do have one question for you, and I'm sure people at home. So I know what pain is tolerable, or I know what pain is from tight muscles.
Right.
How do people differentiate between a pain that maybe isn't right?
Yeah.
So for example, I know when I roll my inner thigh, the pain's a little different and it feels a little uncomfortable, and sometimes I don't feel like it is safe. You know,
Right.
is there a chance that people are doing it wrong on the inner thigh, whereas it's pretty easy to know where to roll on the other parts?
So one thing, it's a really good question, we get this a lot, is when you're around the joint or on the joint, so you don't foam roll on your joints, first of all. But if the pain is ever in the joint, that's something serious and you should stop right away. Now, if it's a sharp pain, you want to move away from that area. If it's like a dull pain, like it feels like you're bruised, then that's an area that's okay to foam roll. You just want to breathe into it. Too many people hold their breath and the muscles tighten up. Now remember, if it's really painful and you're clenching your body, you're not doing yourself any benefit, because what happens, your body locks up even tighter. So what I would say is you actually have to massage above and below that, breathe into it, and do this multiple days in a row. And by your 3rd, 4th, 5th day, you're going to feel that pain starting to dissipate a little bit. That's how you know you're making progress. And remember, it's not meant to be painful. And believe it or not, if you do this long enough, it won't be painful because you'll have ironed out the muscles, and then you'll just need to do a couple minutes for maintenance work. And again, this really can save you from long-term joint issues with your lower back and your knees.
Foam rolling definitely helped cure me of getting shin splints, so I can say that as a testimonial. Well, anyway, thank you for showing me, again, a refresher. Always helpful, and hopefully you guys at home, if you didn't know how, or you once learned, this was very helpful for you as well. We'll see you next time.